We're back again, ladies, and this time we are talking about standing in our power, owning our power, shining like the lights that we are. But how many women do you see who dim their light, who are not standing in their power? And I know for me, I look at the history of women, you know, it's kind of gone full circle, hasn't it? Women were revered at one stage, you know, they were the goddesses. And that's why I talk about a lot of goddess work in the stuff that I do, because I believe each and every one of us is a goddess. And it's about time we start coming back to that radiance, that ancient wisdom, and standing tall in our power. But we've been villainized over the years. We've been put down. You know, at one point we used to be sold for a freaking donkey or a few cows, you know.
People are in some countries.
This is true, you know. Oh, I've got a daughter, I'll just sell her for a few camels. I mean, we are so special. And I love women, and I so want them to stand in their power.
And you talked about history, you know, through history. Well, let's change that to her story instead of his story and bring it back to us, because we've all got stories, you know, from when we were infants or before the womb, actually coming through and bringing our life force, our modi, our life force through into this realm to live this human experience, to have this beautiful world where we can, you know, everything is here for us. We can touch it, we can feel it, we can smell it, you know, we can feel it. And that's, you know, the feelings that we get. So that power comes from us and our story, which has made our identity. And perhaps some of these identity stories are not ours, and they don't belong in our world, and so don't claim them. You know, you have the power to stand there and say, no, that's not mine. I recognize you for who you are, and I thank you for being here to show me what you've shown, but you're not my story. And my identity is this, and this is how my story, her story, is going. And like we talked about with our hormones, we transition different phases in our life, just like nature, you know, different rhythms, and that brings in different energy. And it's how we choose to use that power. You know, we through our perimenopause years can have these power surges, these hot flushes, these surges in our body. And, you know, if we've got this energy coming through us, how are we going to respond to it? How are we going to redirect it? How are we going to put it in a space where we can use it for better?
I agree. And I think one of the powerhouses of distraction across social media at the moment is whatever it takes to keep us in that story. So this is the divide and conquer, right? You know, we've got, I mean, everyone has a story. We've got the Black story, we've got the slave story, we've got the Jewish story, we've got the female story, we've got the gay trans story. There are a million stories out there, and everyone has their own story and their own version of it. But, you know, like you say, Bridget, when are we going to change that story? When are we going to make it our new story? When are we going to project that we're no longer part of that story? And we are in the process of creating a brand new story. And as soon as we can start to reframe that version of attachment that we have in our head to what we were, what we have been, what we should be, then we are able to actually become the creators of our own energetic future and our own, you know, manifest our own desires, manifest whatever we want, because we're no longer attaching to what we're being told through, you know, endless media that we have been. And I think that, you know, women are always coming to, probably all of us, you know, and they are very trapped in their story. very
I
trapped in
agree.
the role of mother,
Yeah.
endless giver, endless sacrificer, putting myself last, and not feeling loved or cherished, and then feeling resentful, bitter, and angry,
Yeah.
And it's
and
also those
not realizing
labels.
they have control within that realm.
And the labels that we're given, you know, that we are in our perimenopausal phase, or we do have something like endometriosis, or we do have this. It's, you know, it's our power, our own right to heal ourselves. And we have the inner power. We have the intrinsic knowing of how to do this. And it's about reclaiming that and burning the labels. You know, the labels don't belong.
But you know, like it's a place of safety for the human. You know, our brains like to stay where we are, and that is part of the human experience. It likes to keep us safe, even though it might not be safe. Very strange, we know. But how do we stand in our power? And the first thing for me is owning your worth, because you know, we are not the job we do. We are not the role we do. We are, yes, we may be a mother, we may be a sister, we may be a friend. They're all part and parcel of the beautiful, rich tapestry of this lifetime we're living. But really, we are me, we are I, but we are all together as well. But we're not, one person is more or less worthy than another, no matter what they are doing in the world. You know, one might be a philanthropist raising millions for charity, another might be serving ice creams in the ice cream shop. That's okay. Everybody is equally worthy, yet people feel less than.
Well,
People
that's the
feel less
inverted
than.
power structure
Yeah.
of the planet.
And it's so sad because, you know, imagine if everybody just shone in their worth. And that's why I say to my clients, you do not have to make your bed in the morning to be worthy. You do not have to brush your teeth in the morning to be worthy. I recommend you do, but you don't have to be worthy. But, you know, you are just worthy. The jobs we do, the passions we have, the purpose we have in life gives us that drive to keep living, which is so beautiful, but it's not our worth. It's not our worth. We are just worthy. We belong.
Absolutely.
We belong. We are worthy. And we are so worthy of our own love and devotion.
Absolutely. And I think also the biggest area that I see that women have compromised their integrity is within their boundary system. And I think especially when we have children, we start to feel that, you know, the boundaries don't exist anymore. So, you know, it's almost like we are made to feel that we should be sort of these like endless providers of perfection. And when we get it wrong, or, you know, we make mistakes or we put boundaries in place, we get this pushback, and therefore we suddenly start thinking we're doing it all wrong. And so, you know, women often grow up, you know, within the family structure as well. And this is stronger in some cultures than others, but it's, you know, it's very common, and even in the West, I think, that women grow up within a certain framework of a role within the family that they're expected to play.
Yeah.
And they hold that role, and that becomes their story and their identity, and they hold that all the way through their adulthood, through their relationship, and they forget how to put a boundary in place.
I agree.
And so one thing I do with my clients is I say, you've got to go off this week and say no to 3 things without giving a reason.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to say, oh, sorry, my aunt's coming over and I'm like, or my child's sick, or you just got to say, no, I can't make that one. Or no, I don't want to go to that one, but thanks for asking.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to make up all these reasons why you can't do something, because the pressure to do everything and be involved in everything, and rather than just turning something down. I mean, you look at guys, not all guys, but I can tell you most guys compared to women, if they don't want to do something, they'll just go, nah, I don't want to do that. Nah. I mean, that's what my partner says. And I'm just like, oh, but, and he's like, nah, I don't want to.
No guilt given, no
We'll
shits
look
given.
really bad if we don't. And it's like, I don't care how I look. And, we really need to start taking some of that on board.
We do. And
Owning that and
totally.
knowing where our value is.
Yeah.
Our
And
value in every relationship, in every aspect, even with nature, the value. We've become so almost narcissistic where we don't value ourselves and we don't value our environment. And so it's bringing it back and bring that power in to feel that worth, feel that value, lose the labels.
But like going back to like what you said about women not having boundaries, I remember I had my kids and I literally gave them me, like all of me, and that was not healthy because I did suffer, and that's when I ended up years later having a nervous breakdown. And I'm not blaming my children, there was other factors going on, many other factors, but when I look back now, and hindsight's always a great thing when you can look back, you don't have it at the time obviously, but I look back now and I just literally gave and gave. And again, it's that perfectionism, trying to be the best mom, trying not to make any mistakes, trying to do everything possible you can for your children, trying to provide, trying to give them all the love and trying to meet all of their needs. And of course, that's a beautiful thing for most mothers to do. But if you're not looking after you, if you're not putting some boundaries in place, like saying, hey, I'm going to have a bath tonight and actually I'm going to have it on my own. Not one of you is going to step foot in that bath. But we don't seem to be able to put those boundaries in place. And that's why it's so important, because if you think about it before you have children and start putting them there, trust me, it gets easier than doing it afterwards. Because then when you start changing and making decisions later down the line, your kids look at you like you're mental. What do you mean you're going to do that? It's all about me. But yeah,
I saw this great sign. Somebody posted this sign that they put on their toilet door, and it said, "Are you bleeding? Is anyone dying? Does anyone need CPR? If none of these things apply, please wait until I come out."
I love that. Because how many times did your children come up in and look down the toilet as you're trying to have a pee? And you're like, can you just leave me alone? I want to
Never
just
the
see you
father.
pee. No.
I saw this video called The Invisible Father, and the dad's there, and the kid's running past the dad going, "Mom, Mom, Mom." And then they're running around. The dad's like, I'm here. And they're like, "Mom, Mom." And then finally they couldn't find the mother and they go, "Dad." And he's like, "Yes." And they're like, "Where's Mum?"
And it's like, do you remember when your kids were little, your husband or whoever might be in the kitchen, you'd be in the bathroom having a quick pee and they'd come to you to ask for something to eat and you're like, are you kidding me? There's somebody in the kitchen who can feed you. Go see them. But again, it comes down to boundaries. So we're laughing about it and it is really flipping funny. But I remember at the time almost wanting to weep and cry or getting really frustrated. Go and ask your dad. Go and ask your dad.
Yeah.
But we make
And
it
then
hard for our own back.
And then you end up resenting them for holding their role, and we don't, honor ourselves. But I think that I've been a single mum for a very long time, and it's really important, these things, because it's also mentoring it in their life. Because if I don't do this for me, they won't do it for themselves. They will their boundaries. And actually, that's something that my daughter has taught me, because I've watched her in the world and I've thought, oh, that's interesting. I'll reflect on that and see how we can pivot here.
That's right. Because, children do what we do, not what we say.
Yeah.
So there's no point us sacrificing everything and telling them to love themselves and this, that, and the other when we are modeling someone that absolutely never takes care of themselves, never shows themselves love, and I mean, how many parents do you see complaining about their weight and then saying to their child, "Oh no, you're perfect," or, "You look so great, I look so fat," or, this kind of thing. It's just so unhealthy. And I love, I saw a quote with Kate Winslet and she said, the one thing no one's allowed to mention in their house is weight. Like it's, it's such an unhealthy thing that we spend so much time on as women, within the framework of family. And so I couldn't agree more, Bridget. You know, we absolutely have to model what we want our children to become, not just say the words. They don't listen to the words. They're listening to the energy that we are
We're emanating.
projecting.
And I think that weight loss that you brought up, or the weight, sorry, not weight loss, but weight, healthy weight, is a huge subject. We've got so much weight in our world that, you know, when we focus that within, we're not, you know, giving ourselves that complete availability to joy. And that's why we're here.
For joy. I know. So on that, ladies, we say, have some boundaries. Think about what your boundaries are and why you want them. Own your worth and shine like the powerhouse you are. Do we agree?
Yeah.
Yay!
Sure
I'm going to be
do.
with you soon.
Mm.
I'm going to have to do the same thing again, girl, and just press end.